Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tower Saviors card review video. In this video, I'll be taking a look at one of the jackpot cards from the Pertinacious Belief series, Bereaved, Cornflower, Entelec. Entelec is a light human card, and I'll be taking a look at the leader skills, team skills, and active skills, and letting you know my thoughts and opinions about this card. Without further ado, let's get started with their leader skills. We have Humans and Dragons will have an attack bonus of 6 times. HP and recovery will increase by 2 times additionally. Runestone movement time increases by 3 seconds. All attributive runestones possess 50% the effect of other runestones. When the team has 2 or more attributes or 2 or more races, team attack increases by 6 times additionally. Damage will be dealt regardless of defense. Now let's take a look at the team skill because it usually complements the leader skill as well. So for the team skill, we have that when the leader is Bereaved, Cornflower, Entelec, we have Entelec will have a skill cooldown reduction of -7 after entering a stage. When the current HP is full, damage received will be reduced by 60%. Damage dealt to enemies will increase by 4 times additionally. By dissolving attributive runestones, Entelec will launch an extra attack of that attribute. In my opinion, his leader skill is going to be pretty simple and pretty honest. He doesn't have that much utility built into his kit, but he does have pretty good damage output potential inbuilt for his leader skill. First of all, we have a times 6 attack bonus on his baseline multiplier, which is a little bit low in comparison to the current meta right now. But you have an additional times 6 attack bonus from his 4th leader skill, which times 6 is a pretty significant amount of damage, and the condition to hit it is not going to be that hard at all. You only need 2 or more races, which is humans and dragons most likely, otherwise they will not benefit from these his baseline multiplier, or 2 attributes. And as you can notice, Entelec does not have a attribute or race restriction on his leader skill, which means that you can slot any cards in your inventory into his team and they will still contribute to this 2 attribute or 2 race condition. However, in order to get the most out of Entelec, you do want to be running full human and dragon teams, or full human, or just a mix of human and dragons. However, you are not limited in your attribute, which means that you can slot in any human or any dragon card that you have. And a lot of the collaboration cards are humans, which means that you have a very good pool of active skills to choose from if you decide to run Entelec as a leader. Furthermore, for his team skill, you do get an additional times 4 attack multiplier. This one's just a raw attack multiplier, which it's good to have, but not sure why they didn't just build it into his leader skill and put it into this team skill. But overall, his team skill is going to be a little bit more simple and more simple than other jackpot cards that we've had in the past. We do have a skill -7 after entering the stage, but as you can see later, his active skill is good to have from the get-go, but it is not a buff or any continuous effect. So reducing it by 7 will give you a full round of burst, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, when HP is full, damage received -60%. This is going to be pretty useful. However, nowadays there are a lot of enemies that ignore defense, which means that any damage reduction skills are not as useful as they were at the beginning of the game. For example, when Ingzhen was first released, his damage reduction skill was so good because enemies will not ignore defense, which means that he could tank through everything and anything in the game. But nowadays, enemies are having more attack and ignore defense, which means that all these cards that have inbuilt damage reduction usually will still die to these enemies. So it is a good bonus to have because it will allow you to survive certain enemies that don't have shield breaking potential, but at higher levels, at endgame stages, this damage reduction effect is not going to be as useful as early stages or easier stages. Damage dealt to enemies times 4, pretty standard, just a raw attack bonus, but the best part of this team skill is going to be the 4th effect where Entelec will launch an extra attack of the attribute that you dissolve in the round. And this is really useful, one, because you are launching more extra attacks, which is more damage, but also you launch different attribute attacks. And nowadays, there are a lot of enemies that will only receive damage from a certain attribute, or they will only receive damage after you hit them with all 5 attributes. So against these enemies, having an inbuilt extra attacks of different attributes effect is going to be really powerful. So in my opinion, is Entelec a good leader card? I think Entelec is a pretty decent leader, but it is not going to be a super strong leader for endgame content. I do think he's going to be really good for early game and mid game, and the occasional tailored ultimate stage. But in my opinion, for nightmare stages, chaos stages, endgame content, I don't think he will be that good of a leader. There are so many humans in the team, in the game, that having him in the game as a leader, he might be good, but I do expect him to fall out of the meta pretty easily, especially because his team skill and leader skill doesn't really have a lot going for them. You do have a pretty good attack bonus, but your baseline is still times 6, which is pretty low in terms of the current meta, and you don't really have any shield breaking potential inbuilt in your team skills either as well. You do ignore defense, but in terms of initial shield, fixed combo shield, enchanted shield, um, things like that, stealth shield, um, anti-runestone shield, things like that, he does not have any shield breaking potential, which means that he will be relying on his members to do the heavy lifting against annoying enemy skills, which, like I said, at endgame content, you encounter a lot of really annoying enemy skills that you need to counter. And so the fact that you don't have any inbuilt passive shield breaking potential will hinder this card in the future as well, because now you have to bring both damage boosters to deal with higher HPs, but you also need to bring utility cards to break those shields. So in my opinion, he is a decent leader, but I do predict him to fall out of the meta pretty easily, which is why I don't really recommend pulling for him if you're looking for a leader for the game, especially since there are collaboration cards coming out soon, black gold cards as well, that will last for a little bit longer time than just Intellect. Yeah, so overall, as a leader, good leader numbers, but definitely worth skipping if you want to save your resources for a better, more broken leader. Now let's take a look at the active skill. It is a CD7 active skill, so with the team skill, it will be ready immediately and has the following effect. Clear the hypnotized state of all members. Turn all runestones into fixed numbers and fixed positions of all 6 types. Heart runes will become protected runes, and for 1 round, damage received will not lead to your defeat, and a counterattack of each attribute will be launched as much as 1,000 times the damage received to all attacking enemies, regardless of defense and enchanted runestone shield. So, in my opinion, this active skill is pretty good, and this is because it will help you survive any damage received because it will not lead to your defeat, and you are also launching counterattacks of each attribute to the enemies. This is a little bit just of a bonus. This is not the bulk of the skill. I think the bulk of the skill is the effect 1 and effect 4. Effect 1, clear the hypnotized state of all members. This is an effect that, in my opinion, is very valuable, and the only reason why this active skill is really good is because there are not that many cards in the game that can help you clear the hypnotized state of all members. Some cards will clear the hypnotized of themselves, some cards will only clear the hypnotized state of certain collaboration series, but there isn't a universal hypnotized state clearer in the game so far, which makes this active skill really valuable, especially now that hypnotize will become a little bit more common as Math releases more annoying stages. Again, another reason why this effect is good is for effect 4. Damage received in the round will not lead to your defeat, so this can help you against cards with initial shield, as long as they don't have shield breaking properties, and this will help you survive that hit and then counterattack against that enemy in the next round. Additionally, with protected runes also becoming more common, protected runes are a really good way for Madhead to counteract active skills that explode all runes, restore all rune effects, or remove all runes, because once you remove all runes, all protective runes are gone, which means that you are not able to deal damage to the enemy. So for example, skills like Pompeii, Tsuyo, Lilith, where they remove all the runes, means that you're not able to deal damage to the enemy even if you have a really good board to spin. Also, cards like Hong Ai, which refresh the board when you activate it, will also get rid of protective runes, which means that you're also not able to launch attacks. So being able to generate protective runes is going to be really valuable against certain enemies, because that means that you can still activate these skills that remove all runes. For example, if you need to clear a bunch of like um, non-attacking runes, weather runes, or like other types of runes, but still keep those protector runes on the board by generating them yourself. And now you can still get rid of the runes, generate your own board, and still generate protector runes. So in my opinion, this skill is really useful, and the only reason why it's really useful is because it covers utility that not that many other cards have in the game. So you can clear hypnotized runes and also generate protector runes and also have a tumbler effect. So in my opinion, this active skill is going to be really valuable as a member for the game. Is it worth pulling for this card just for that? Debatable. Hypnotized is going to be a little bit more annoying to deal with. Protective runes you have ways to get around it, and for Tumbler, Initial Shield specifically, you have also other ways to get around it. So the only reason you will want to pull for this card is for the Hypnotized State effect, which yes, it is nice, but because this is not the guaranteed 1% jackpot card, you are not guaranteed to have it in even 100 diamonds or 20 pulls. So in my opinion, it might be better to just save your diamonds for the next collaboration or the next black gold card, because realistically, there isn't that much benefit to pull in this current seal, because the non-jackpot cards have been the same. So I do expect everyone to already have them. And these two jackpot cards are not worth getting, like spending 100 plus diamonds just to get one new copy of a new card. Granted, Hypnotized State Clearing is definitely going to be really useful and definitely going to come into play in the future. So for some guide videos, you will definitely see this card being played by a lot of YouTubers just to clear the Hypnotized State of the team. But if you're free to play and you don't have that many resources, I will say keep those resources and spend them in another collaboration, because now that this skill exists, there will be cards in the future that will also help clear Hypnotized State in the future. But yeah, in my opinion, uh, really good member card, just okay leader skill overall. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about this card. Please let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong or if I missed out on anything. And as always, stay tuned on my YouTube channel for more Tower of Saviors content. For now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!